Hello wonderful people, Connor Whitmore here again with another video for you on the Nawtystep channel, and today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the new Subsidia compilations. You were all asking me to do a video of some sort. I wanted to do one myself. I tried the live streaming, which didn't quite work, albeit quite funny. For anyone that was there, you will know, and I was never also either going to cover the compilations in full, you know, track by track. If you have any idea what it takes to put a video together, then you will know that would have been impossible. I was thinking about how I could possibly cover it, but in listening to it for the first time for last week's Best of Bass playlist, with thoughts on it kind of formulating along the way, it became pretty clear that there was only really one way that I could cover it, and yeah, here we are. I've listened to it twice the whole way through, which, as many of you will know, is no mean feat, and what I'm going to do here is just give my thoughts on each compilation, and we'll get progressively heavier from dawn to dusk to night, and then I'll give some concluding thoughts at the end to kind of round off. A couple of tracks playing underneath. Compilations are in the description if you're yet to check them out. Yeah, let's go. And so starting with Dawn, and yeah, not a lot to say about this one, to be honest. You know, a good variety of lighter styles on show, but nothing really getting me off my seat here. The drops, if you want to call them that, in the large ballady numbers just have nothing to them melodically. They're euphoric in sound, kind of sonically, if you get me, but no musical flavour to them at all. Nothing to engage with, just very meh and plain, I would say. Overall here, just a lot of wayward ideas that feel directionless, and the production is pretty rough around the edges for the most part, I would have to say. So yeah, most material here, either through the idea or the production, I just straight up don't like. You know, when I hear it, I kind of feel like I'm having to force myself to enjoy it, which isn't ever what you want, really. So yeah, vast majority here I'm just not really on board with. Some good vocals, to be fair. You know, you got Sullivan King, Micah Martin on the Wales track, the Float in Your Boat sample, Josh Rubin on the second Everything Must Go tune here. But then you have stuff like Maybe Love Is Like Tattoos, It Stays With You from Halien in the X and Wooly collab, opening up the compilation, and stuff like that does just peg that aspect of the compilation back a bit. But in terms of my picks here, then I would say the Yatep and Glinner. I think it's Glinner, not sure what else it could be, but yeah, Inure by Jay Kutch, the I feature, and Ipsium are okay, but none here that I'm really excited to go back to, I wouldn't say. Then we have Dusk, which picks up the compilation overall decently well, I think. At least initially, you know, you have energy and ideas here that are good, even though I don't love that opening first 4 or 5 or so. The Sullivan King, Excision and Dion Timmer, Company, Nasty and Eugene, Ray Volpe. Yeah, don't love them, but for sure a solid opening 5. But again, they are swamped out by the vast majority here, which again, just doesn't do a lot for me. A lot of fuzzy mid-tempo dubstep kind of music that's just way too saturated and distorted, just rough on the ear, and without that striking an idea either. Again, just very directionless with the kind of ingenuity of it. And also a load of finely cut dubstep, trap, hybrid kind of music with ideas that don't do much at all. Good production, I would say, but the ideas are just so meh. Moreover, a fair few collaborations here that have big potential but just don't deliver for me. The Nasty and Eugene, the Stuka and Eugene, the Space Wizard and Captagon, the Nasty and Sweet Tea, the Milky and Nauts. I like them all individually quite a bit, but these collaborations, yeah, I just don't get a lot from. Generally, I enjoyed this one more on my second listen, appreciating the theme and kind of heaviness that we get here, and I think it would have to be my favourite theme as well of the 3. You know, heavy but never going overboard with the loudness, and just never overwhelmingly heavy, if you get me, which I will get to in a minute, I can assure you of that. But in terms of the good stuff here, then the Blarty and Run It and Dexter Fizz and Gorm, Invaders and Decimate I found okay. Decent would have to be the Excision and Dion Timmer, the Company, Ray Volpe, Kyvon, Carbon and Brunch Beats, and then my favourites come from YDG. A pretty simple number, but some fantastic moments and produced really well. And then also the Anson, which I think has my favourite sounds on the whole compilation, all 3. So yeah, that would have to be for me The Good Stuff on Dusk. And finally we have Night, and this is where it gets a bit trying, because even though there are definite highlights here, there are also long sequences where I feel like I'm just hearing the same track over and over and over again. There's a run of about 25 or 30 or so, barring maybe a couple, where it just feels like a bit of a blur, to be honest, you know, difficult to distinguish one from another, very overbearing, just ideas that don't do anything. A lot of very average ideas as well, from pretty big names in bass music. I just don't get the appeal at all, very ordinary. The kind of music where I sit there, I hear it, and I'm like, really? You really couldn't come up with anything more creative than that, honestly. And you kind of count on the bigger guns for a bit more expertise, but it just isn't brought from them for the most part. More disappointing collaborations with a lot of potential as well, just get nothing from them at all, heard it all before. You know, what appeals about making music that just sounds so similar to everything else at the moment? Everything coming out right now, especially when there are no shows at all. I just don't get it. I'm not just going to sit here and say they're all great and doing something noteworthy when they're not, you know. This is where dubstep's at right now, and has been for a few years, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not a fan at all. And this compilation is just a reminder for me that that approach, you know, overly loud, abrasive, mindless even, isn't leaving anytime soon, in spite of the upsurge in more melodic stuff recently. A lot of the production as well, I mean, you know, this is meant to be a compilation from the current father of dubstep, you know, the main figure. And I know you're trying to showcase up-and-comers, I respect that, it's good that that's what it's about. But I feel at the same time like you gotta have some kind of standard, you know, a lot of material here is pretty difficult to get through, it's like wading through mud. And considering how many songs are on this compilation in particular, and how few I enjoy, it has to be the one I'm least enthused about overall, I think. I just feel like I need a big break each time I get to the end of it, which says it all, I suppose. There is some good. The Stratus, Jessica Orderfred, Nasco, and Lynx and Hounds are okay. The Night Punk, Tynan, and Viperactive are decent. And then my favourite comes from AU5, which I probably find to be the best one on the whole thing. Large sound, but so cleanly produced and put together, and a nice range of ideas as well on show, I would say. So yeah, AU5 probably my favourite on Subsidia. A couple of final thoughts, and for me, another standard case here for the most part of a compilation not really hitting the mark, more so than usual as well. Unsurprising given how many tracks there are, the good stuff is always going to be diluted in some way. But as I mentioned, you'd think a compilation from a new Excision label would be a bit more impressive. There are songs in each compilation that sound far too similar. It kind of gets worse as it goes on in that regard. And a lot of material that just straight up isn't produced that well and is quite difficult to get through, a bit of a chore. It's just far too many tracks in my opinion, you know. The more I listen to it, the more I'm like, why? Just, why so many? Makes little sense. I'm just not sure what the thinking was aside from giving people a platform. At a point, I think it becomes too much. End of the day, it's just, well, it's meant to be a compilation, a good listen as a project, but I can't say it's that, you know. The numbers, they feel like a hype generator more than anything. There are a few songs of the 118 that I'm enjoying a bit, but not many, maybe a couple that I'm pining to go back to again and again. A compilation of a few moments, which I suppose is every one pretty much, but this is in the space of about 100 odd others, so yeah, the good stuff really is dwarfed here. Not a lot more to say really, pretty standard, samey stuff, not loads here getting me off my seat or interesting me. Doesn't leave me particularly excited for what's to come from the label either, so yeah, suppose that says a lot. But there we have it, my thoughts on the debut Subsidia compilations. I hope you enjoyed the video, thank you very much for watching. But what did you make of these compilations? Which one did you enjoy most? Which songs of the three comps did you enjoy most? Let me know all of your views, thoughts and opinions. I know you all have some in the comments down below. Beyond that, keep it naughty. If it's naughty, then you know. And I shall see all of you legends in the next one. Peace.